So moving forward then, the next option that I'm going to try, since I didn't quite know what was happening with that one, the next option I'm going to try is to isolate two of the rails that are opposite one another. So either the top edge and the bottom edge, or the left side or the right side, and I'm going to try to just loft them together. So which ones would I want to use in this case? If I'm trying to get a flat panel as if it's glazing that came from the factory. Anyone? Am I going to use the left and right or the top and bottom? Top and bottom, why?
Because of the base
Well, it's actually the left and the right that you would want to use. But why would I use that instead of the top and bottom?
Because you want flat panels going across.
Right, because I want flat panels going across. If you look at the top and bottom, they're actually curved. So if I loft those two together, it's going to give me exactly the same result that I have right now. So anyway, how do you isolate one particular item? Do you remember that from yesterday?
List item.
That's right, list item. Yeah, I kind of gave you the hint there. So under set and list, we're going to use list item. And this is going to accept the list of edges, right? So packs of 4, and we're going to have to figure out which ones we want. So the list goes in there, and I can put a slider in here to figure out which one I want. So I'm going to put a slider from 0 to 3 because there are only 4 items in the list. So item 0 is the bottom rail. If I highlight it, you can see it's the bottom rail. Item 1 is the right side rail, and you'll notice that the left side rail is highlighted, but it's highlighted only because every single panel has the right side rail highlighted. That's why. So if you look at the left side, you'll see that's not highlighted, so it's the right side. Yeah, that part's a little confusing, huh?
No, as mine was showing just the horizontal lines, but I switched the slider.
Yeah. So we're going to want number 1, and then we're also going to want number 3. So if I jump to 3, you'll see that it's on the other side. The way that you can loft two things together takes two different forms. One option, and let me just kind of show you the two options. So under surface and freeform, there's the tool that's called Loft. Now, Loft is going to request both of your section curves in one tool, or in one list. On the other side, we have ruled surface, which is like a loft, except it's going to accept one curve and then another curve separate from it. And they behave slightly differently, but until we encounter an error, I'm not going to get into it. But anyway, so what we can do with list item is we can actually put two items in the same list item, but we have to make sure that it's going to read the proper way. Are they going to be in, are both items going to be in one list, one set of a list, or are they going to create two duplicate lists? So I'm going to copy this and put it back to the one that I need and plug that in to I. But be aware that when I plug it into I, it disconnects the other one. So surprisingly, this is the first time I think that we're doing a duplicate connection, right? Do I have that right?
Yeah.
I don't think we've done that yet, adding a secondary connection. So if you want to have one connection and it only wants one connection, you can override that by adding it. If you hold your wire and hold the shift button, you'll see that little green arrow with the plus icon. It's super duper tiny, but you drop that one on while holding shift and you can do both. So the test is, I'm not going to delete that yet, actually. The test is if I drop a panel in and I look at it and I see 2 items in one set, that's good. That means I can try plugging that into Loft, and maybe it'll behave. So I'll plug it into Loft and look at what it's doing. It's doing the same thing, but the other way. So all this panelization is kind of backwards in the way that it's reading these orders. So what I have done in the past, and I've been trying to find a better way of doing it, but what I've done in the past is separate these 2 lines out, and then I reverse the curve. It's kind of a hacky way of doing it, but it does get the job done. So copy and paste the item list down, and then you can disconnect from the first one, disconnect the number 3, and then from this one you can disconnect number 1, and we're going to use ruled surface now because it's now 2 separate lists. So A and B is still going to produce the same thing. What we have to do is flip one of the surfaces. And so if I want to flip, that's not going to show me, is it? Yeah. If I want to flip it, all I have to do is just grab one of them and get it to reverse. So there's a cool tool. It's under Curve and Utility, I think. Yeah, Flip Curve. So this one it's really just going to take the direction of the curve, right? So point 0 and point 1, and it's going to reverse that list so that point 1 becomes 0 and point 0 becomes 1. So I'm going to do that to this one down here. Plug it into curve, and then plug that into B. And there you have your flat panel facade. Okay, so at this point, what questions do you have? You shouldn't really have much yet, but okay.